This video will probably be one of the most important videos that I make on YouTube because the news that I will break down for you guys will change global markets, including Bitcoin, really heavily, that you really need to be aware about this. So let's jump into the video straight away. If you do like this video, make sure to leave a like. That would mean the world to me. That's all I ask in exchange for this content. But the news is this, right? So the US debt ceiling could be reaching a deal to increase it by, the rumor is $4 trillion, which would of course save the US from defaulting on its debt. Now, upon this news, Bitcoin saw a small V-shaped recovery and we hit our stop loss for a short position. And I mentioned in my previous videos that if we do hit the stop loss, then I will flip bullish. However, this is really making me question this idea because the thing that most YouTubers that haven't told you is that this deal is far from becoming a reality. Now, depending on your time zone, either early this morning or yesterday night, you would have seen this news being released that the US debt ceiling will most likely be raised and the default will probably not happen, but this is not the case. So the bill has been proposed and is being drafted today. And the thing is, it will still need to go through very hardcore voting for it to be approved. Now, in order for this debt ceiling to be increased by, the rumors, again, $4 trillion, then the Republican Party and the Democrat Party have to negotiate on very, very key terms that is super hard to come to a conclusive deal on. So after it passes voting, hopefully passes voting, then the US won't default on its debt on June 5th because that's when it will have to pay back its bondholders. And the current national debt is over 31.8 trillion US dollars, which is a phenomenal sum. So if this deal is passed, then yes, they won't default and the markets will probably continue to see a little bit of a rally. But if it's not accepted by the vote, then it will fail to pass and the US could actually default on its debt. Again, the terms that they're currently negotiating for is pretty harsh, right? So it's not easy to accept. And President Biden has also said that, we can't have a win-win situation. He said in the ballpark of, both parties will probably not get what they want for this bill to be passed, but let's see. Hopefully it does pass, but it's looking very hard and it's far from being passed. And this is what a lot of YouTubers are failing to mention. So currently I'm in a no trade zone. I want to wait until June 5th. Let's see what happens, right? And honestly, it's just looking pretty scary. So this is the first piece of information that I wanted to share with you guys. Now let's move on to Bitcoin technical analysis because this is actually super important. Now, if I move on to the charts, we saw a very nice reversal candle on the daily chart and it led to this reversal towards the upside. However, the truth is, at this point, there was a lot of uncertainty in the markets. And of course, you have to take risk, right? To make money in trading, you really need to take risk. And I took the risk by shorting at this level with a potential very big win situation. If we did come down to that $25,000 area, 24K area, it would have been a very big win. But of course, there is risk involved. And if you do proper risk management, which I did, and I do teach you this in my previous, so go to the Become Rich with Crypto video. And there is a very important segment about risk management. Go and watch that. And honestly, that way you don't worry about any trade. You really don't care because you risk money that you're not afraid to lose, right? So at that point, it doesn't really matter. So that's the first thing that I wanted to mention. Now that we've seen a rally back up, what could be next? So we've actually made it back into this descending wedge over here. We've made it back inside and we've tested the resistance of it perfectly. But what's going to happen? We're still drifting on the support of the 26.6K. But if I switch to this chart over here, we're close to invalidating this potential head and shoulders pattern. I'd say there's still this candle to close, so this week's candle to close for us to get a definitive answer, but we're close to invalidating it, which would be perfect for Bitcoin. Because again, if we look at it from a macro perspective, we're still making a higher low on Bitcoin, right? And a higher high at the same time, which is a bullish trend. But the thing is, we need to reverse towards the upside from this level. And there is some pretty key indicators that are showing a possibility of this. The fact that we're reversing from the 200 period moving average and the EMA ribbons on the weekly time frame, and that the EMA ribbons are actually beginning to cross towards the upside. And this is happening for one of the very first times in Bitcoin's history. The last time that we've saw a crossover towards the upside for Bitcoin with the EMA ribbons was back in like 2019, right? So this is going to be pretty phenomenal for Bitcoin. And if we do see the completion of this crossover, we could head higher for Bitcoin, right? So this is the first thing that I'm looking at. For a macro perspective, for me to be in okay, this is the bull market, we need to get above the previous swing high of $31,000. But yeah, what could happen is if we don't get above this level, we could have a double top and then we could collapse further towards the downside, which I've talked about in the previous videos too. And I'm not going to be trading it. It could be, we could trade if we break above this level, so the 27.3K, which I will update you guys if I do decide to enter this on my free Telegram channel. But we could open a trade right to over here like this with a very tight stop loss. We could put the stop loss to around about, we could put it to this level over here. The 27.2K would be a tight stop loss for this trade. Now, another bullish sign is that the parabolic SAR is firing a buy on the daily after a big downtrend. So I could be opening a position actually very soon on the $27,330 break. So stay tuned for this on the free Telegram channel. This could take Bitcoin towards the upside and it would be fantastic. But again, this news, I really want to wait, right, for any huge position on my end to open a huge long position. I want this deal to be reached. Without it being reached, then it's going to be pretty bearish for Bitcoin. Alongside this news over here, we saw the Fed minutes event, and after the event, we got the summary that the US may actually continue to raise its interest rates. And if this does happen again, not good for Bitcoin, not good for the markets. This is another very tight stop loss trade. And if we break the 26.6K level again, I will re-enter a massive short position. But guys, hopefully you got full value out of this video. It's a very important one. You could definitely go back and rewatch it again. This news is super important. I'll link down both of these articles in the description below. The US debt ceiling needs to be solved. If it's not solved, it will lead to a massive, massive global recession. So this is what's super important. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care, everyone, and I will see you all in the next piece of content. Take care, guys, and bye-bye.